Hello everyone, JSimLady here. Welcome back. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about something that someone on Twitter requested. So recently I uploaded a short form video for those of us who are elderly and, need it spelled out to us. That's me. I figured out, okay, so this is a weird long story and I have no face cam because all the lights in this room died except the ones behind me. It's kind of hard to explain, but for a long time I tried to figure out, there are a couple of Minecraft mods and one is called Flashback and the other is called Replay. I tried for a few years to figure out the Flashback mod and it was hard, but basically what it does is it records Minecraft sort of within Minecraft, so it's not like screen recording like my OBS is doing, like you're seeing right now. It literally keeps a recorded history of what is happening in Minecraft as it's happening, so you can load it up and move around the world freely as if you're actually playing a Minecraft game. Meanwhile, you're also watching the player or players, if there are multiple players, go about whatever it is they were doing in Minecraft while this Flashback mod was recording, right? And I could never figure it out. It just was so hard to figure out, like, keyframe positions and position keys and position frames and the camera moves how, where, why did the camera do that? It was hard. I am not even, I cannot express to you how hard it was to figure out. So I didn't bother. And I thought maybe, I could never learn these things. So fast forward several years, and it's now 2026, and I'm gonna be real honest with you. I am a little burnt out on the Sims community, probably because I spend too much time on Twitter, honestly. Twitter is just a really bad place and you should not go there. You really just shouldn't. I generally don't hang out there anymore, although I will have a lapse every now and then, which is stupid. I shouldn't. But anyways, fast forward to me being burnt out with the Sims community and it making it hard to play The Sims. I love The Sims. I always have. Do I wish there was more disability representation? Absolutely. In a game like this, it's almost necessary. I can see not having it in games like Minecraft or Call of Duty or whatever, but in a game like this, it's kind of called for, right? So I was just disillusioned and burnt out on everything, and I wanted to go back to Minecraft, but I wanted to do it right this time. I wanted to record it properly, and I wanted to not record everything solely in first person. I did not want to have to mess around with some of the Minecraft modding stuff that is a pain. If you're not in that world, it's hard to explain it, but some of the stuff is a real pain, and it's a drag on your computer as well. I found a lighter system. It's newer, but it's gained a lot of popularity in the last several years. And they have the replay mod, which is just like Flashback, but it's slightly easier to learn and get the hang of. Now, this whole long explanation has a point, and I'm getting to it right now, okay? So I'm playing around with replay mod because I'm streaming Minecraft. Go check out more JSimLady here on YouTube and on Twitch. I plan on live streaming to both, or potentially live streaming different games to different channels, because I have 3 channels right now: Roblox, Minecraft, and Cozy Games. And I might stream always on Twitch, but alternate the other YouTube channels that I stream on for those particular games, except Roblox. I don't know that I'll ever stream for Roblox. I don't know. It's a work in progress. Anyways, go check those channels out. I live stream kind of regularly, so I'm making content for a new Minecraft channel that I made. I live stream most of it, but then I want to add in bits that are from this perspective. So typically you play Minecraft from this perspective, from a first person perspective, right? This is how you play Minecraft. And I want to be able to see me building from this perspective like you do in The Sims, right? Because it looks better, it's easier to follow, it doesn't make people as dizzy, and so I want it from this perspective. So I'm playing around with Replay Mod, and I'm trying to learn it, and I just accidentally managed to learn some cool tricks, and those accidental tricks with like keyframes and position keys and whatever else they're called made it click in my brain. My brain was like, oh, I get it now. I understand how this works and why it works the way it does now. And so I'm able to do that. And then that got me thinking. I was making a short for a Sims build that I did, and typically I take static screenshots like from this angle or whatever, and I pan them in my shorts or TikToks or whatever you want to call them. And it's fine. It's not the greatest. The recording software I use now is not the easiest to make panning shots like that without it being kind of jerky. I'm still working on it. But I'm like, I kind of get how these camera control things work, and essentially the cinematic camera controls that they added in The Sims 4 kind of work the same way. You just don't have the buttons on the screen, you have them on your keyboard, right? So you have to use like hotkeys that you program in yourself. So it could end up looking a little something like this. I have the screen here, and I programmed the 5 to do that, and I programmed the 6 to do that, and I programmed the 7 to do that. So I kind of want to show you. I don't have my face cam right now because there's no lighting in this room. So I'll do my best to explain it as best as I can, but I kind of want to show you. And you have 5 through 9 that you can use. So you have 5 different keys, I think. I'm pretty sure it's 5 through 9. So you have 5 different keys that you can use to set camera angles. Now, unfortunately, with The Sims, it does go a lot faster. You can't control the time that your camera pans around like you can with the Minecraft mod, but it's still more cinematic than just taking static screenshots and panning across the static screenshot, right? So the first thing you want to do is set your camera exactly where you want it. So if you want to start out looking at your front door, and we're using the Willow Creek library for this, so let's say you want to start out here, right? So you press Control 5. Well, actually, you would only press Control 5 if you're not starting out here. This would be like your starting position, right? Now that I think about it. So then let's say you actually want to pan over to the chess table here, and you want to give kind of this first person perspective here. Now you press Control 5 because that's actually your second location, but your first control for the camera, because you're gonna start at one position and then hitting the 5 is gonna move you to your second position. So kind of in a way, doing it that way, you have 6. Because you can start out from wherever you want, and then you use the 5 through 9 to move it to where you want. So let's say we want to take our next movement to be kind of here from a God position over the computers and books. So then we hit Control 6, and then we want to move into the kids' playroom, and it's not a very good room. I mean, it's not bad. It's just not very good for this. So you position the camera exactly the way you would want it to be seen when you hit the button. And beware that if you're too close to a wall, there will be clipping. So then we hit, what are we on? 7? I think. Okay, so we've got 3 positions set, and we want to be at the front door when we start. So we're here, and we're recording or whatever we're doing, and then we just hit 5. And it takes us to that position that we locked in for the chess table. Then we hit the 6, which takes us to this sort of overview position that we set for the computers. And then we hit 7, and it takes us into the playroom. Now, the camera does move really fast. I would prefer in certain situations for it to move a little bit slower and pan a little bit slower. Now, one thing I want you to notice is that it always turns to the right. Some of that is just because I was moving in a clockwise direction around the build, and so the camera moved to the right. But you can start at the door, and let's say you want to show the desk at the 5 position rather than the chess table. So you start at the desk, and then you go back over here to the front door, and you hit 5, and obviously it's going to move left. But then you hit 6, which is this overview, and it moves left again because this is to the left of the desk. But then the children's room is to the right of the computer area, so the camera pans to the right again. Hopefully that makes sense. Now let's say that you have picked a spot right directly in front of you, and we'll go with the books here because it's something, actually we'll go with the desk. It's something more interesting to look at. So you put this as 5, and then you want to show what is directly behind the desk here, like so. So like maybe this right here, which will make 6. Don't forget to hit the control button or it won't save, right? So then you start at the door again. You're here, you're at the door, you hit 5, and then you hit 6. Now, I managed to line that up perfectly behind the camera, so the camera panned down. But if you're ever so slightly to the left or ever so slightly to the right, it's gonna turn the camera in that direction. So if you want a specific direction, good luck. I mean, you have to be very careful about where you pan the camera, because look, I'm still, let's go right here. So the camera is still in that same position it was, but I've got it turned slightly to the side, right? And then we go back here, we're at the desk, right? And then we hit 6, and it kind of pans to the right this time. That's because even though the camera is technically in the same position, the view is slightly to the right, so the camera pans right rather than simply down. But I did notice that it did pan slightly down as well. You don't have control over that. It is what it is, and that's just, I mean, unless you want to download a bunch of mods. This is pretty good though for not having mods. So if you want to take a cinematic view, you press tab. You can scroll your scroll wheel out a little bit so you can get a bigger view of your space, and then you hit 5 again. This does slow it down. This makes it more cinematic, but you have to be in the tab all the time. If you just want to take quick shots from the regular menu area, it's gonna go super fast. I wish it was slow in both circumstances, because sometimes I don't want to be in tab for whatever reason, and so I wish it didn't go super fast, but it is what it is. And this is the one that gets me. So I moved all the way back and around. Again, we can kind of tell which way the camera is gonna go because this room is slightly to the left, so it's obviously gonna pan left. What I was not expecting was for the camera to move backwards first. I was expecting it to pan left and then kind of move sideways into place, if that makes sense. And you don't get complete control over this, so you're gonna have moments where you're gonna have panning that you don't expect. Either way though, it still looks really good, you know what I mean? In fact, yeah, I mean it still looks super good. And what if we went to the 7 position and then the 5 position? This is what I was kind of expecting it to do, to turn, face this area, and then slide sideways in the opposite direction that this did. But for whatever reason, this right here is what I was expecting. But for whatever reason, the camera did the little thing that it did, which is fine. You might have parts of your build you don't want seen, then you're gonna have to take that into account when you're positioning the camera, because you don't have full complete control of that. But it's still very cinematic, right? I mean, you're still moving around in a very cinematic way, and that's the difference between doing it in build mode and doing it in tab mode. And that's how you use the camera presets. I think some people use them to do something sort of like this, which I have not personally mastered yet. I mean, I just learned in the last week what all of this is and how all of it works to begin with. So also, you know, I do find that it is slightly different if you set the controls in tab mode, which I never think to do when I'm playing around with it. But let's say, I think we're gonna start back here. So let's say we want to end here. Now I'm gonna be super honest with you. I have no idea what this is gonna do. I have no idea. So we'll start a little bit higher. We'll come over this way, actually. I'm not setting any camera positions or anything right now. I'm just getting into where I want it to end. So this is where I want it to end. I'm gonna hit Control 5. I don't know how this is gonna change the camera panning. We're finding this out together. And then I'm just gonna keep backing up a ways. I also assume that depending on how far away you are from your last position affects the speed at which it goes. So we're back a little ways, right? And we hit the 5. It kind of goes fast. It kind of goes faster than I expect. But I've seen a lot of people use that to show off their build when they are doing, like, here's the build I'm doing at the beginning of their speed build videos. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what it looks like when we move even further back. Let's see how fast it goes. I'm not sure if this is gonna slow it down or speed it up, so we're finding this out together. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, it's about the same. When you're moving forward, it seems like a little bit faster than panning sideways. It's not bad. Now let's see if we can figure out how people do the sideways around the build pan. So I'm gonna say this is gonna be our first position, and because I'll never find this position again, let's set it up and hit Control 5. And then maybe, oops, I went forward. I didn't mean to go forward. Maybe we just kind of go off to the side and set the position here and hit Control 6. And then don't go forward, hit this here and control 7, and then for the heck of it, we'll do one more to the back, which is maybe control 8. So let's hit 5 so we can get back to that starting point. And then we'll hit 6. And we'll wait for it to stop, hit 7, wait for it to stop, and okay, so we're finding stuff out together. That's how people do their little spinny of their builds. I always thought that was cool, never could do it. I'm a slow typer, so there's also that hesitation in between each. Other people can get it to go smoother and faster. Let's see if I can get it a little bit smoother and faster. So we're at 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I almost got it that time. Let's try it one more time. So 6, 7, 8. Ooh, I hesitated just a little bit too long on that one again too, but there we go. That's the camera controls for making cinematic movements in the game to capture scenes or builds or whatever from a cinematic camera controlled panning, whatever you want to call it, kind of way. I don't know if this sounds weird or not, but I kind of excited that I figured this out. I mean, I know the cinematic camera controls have been in the game for a very long time, and it's silly that it took me this long to understand how they work. But I'm kind of proud of myself for figuring it out. And without any documentation, there's not a ton of documentation out there about this. And as far as I ever saw, I don't remember a lot of YouTubers making videos about how to use the cinematic camera controls. And in fact, most of the YouTubers that I watch don't. Only a few of them do use the cinematic camera controls for anything. And it's usually just at the start of their videos to kind of pan around the outside of their build or whatever. They never use it for anything else that I can see. So I don't know how useful this is to everybody, but it certainly adds a nicer, more polished element to my short videos where I kind of show off my builds for people who are watching shorts content to kind of draw them into my speed builds, and it looks better than the jerky panning of static images. And it gives it a more 3D look and effect as well, because you're panning the actual game, and so you're moving around 3D objects like this rather than panning a static image, which you are just moving across a flat image. So if this is helpful to anybody else out there doing YouTube or TikTok or whatever videos, and you want to set up a little scene that does a cinematic pan, there you go. If you enjoyed this video, if you're enjoying my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. All support is much more appreciated than you could ever imagine. YouTube is going through another one of its weird phases. It's summer, plus they've changed the algorithm again, it seems, and so my channel is slowly dying. I really do appreciate the support that people give me, more than I could ever tell you. So on that note, I'm gonna go now. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.